Today we're going to fit a transfer case guard on a Prado 150 diesel. The reason why you want this is it actually protects this actuator here, which is plastic and is quite susceptible to being broken and cracked, which means a $2,000 repair bill. And also we want to protect this transfer case, which is quite exposed in the middle of that vehicle. The guard we're going to use is a K-on guard. It actually straddles the chassis and doesn't actually attach to the transfer case, which is a much better way to do it. So the first thing to do is to remove the factory guard, as we won't need it anymore. So reinstall the bolts that held the factory guard back into the holes, just to keep those holes clean. So this is the bolt kit you get with the actuator guard. We've got two M10 tap plates on wires, got a couple of M8s with washers, a little spacer plate, and a couple of M10 bolts with washers. So on the left-hand chassis rail, we're going to bolt up to this hole. We need to put a tap plate in there. It needs to sit in there, but it needs to pass it through this hole. So what we have to do is we have to bend the wire so that we can pass the tap plate through and rest it there. So the bent tap plate will look something like this, and we insert it in the hole. You want to be able to see the M10 there. So on the right hand side chassis rail, you want to attach to this hole here. So we need to bend a tap plate so that the tap plate can be positioned to meet up with this hole. So we've bent our wire and positioned our tap plate. You can see through the hole there. Now we can install the guard. We are mounting to these two M8 captive nuts on the back of the cross member here. There's a spacer supplied with the kit. Now this is for if you don't have an ARB bash plate installed, you'll need to space it out. But if you do, they've got a bracket that sits up there and you won't need that spacer because there's something there already. So you want to position the guard and install the two little M8 bolts on the front here first, which we'll need to put the spacer in there. Now we only want to loosely attach this. Because we want to attach the we want to attach the M10 bolts and line those up before we tighten everything up. So we've got that in place. Now we want to get these 10mm bolts. It's handy to have another helper, another set of hands. So that one's positioned, and do the same to the other side. So you want to tighten up these M8 bolts on the front first, get them nice and snug up against the cross member before we tighten the other M10 bolts. Once you've tightened those M8 bolts, time to tighten up the M10 bolts. And you're done. So you can see this guard protects the transfer case, the actuator, and actually straddles the chassis. So all the loads are taken up through the chassis and not the transfer case.